Hello. Welcome to our talk show. So it's week 9.
It is week 9.
And
it's the very end of week 9.
Yeah, and we didn't get a whole lot of hands-on stuff done with the van this week, but we gotta feed the people, so we're doing more of a think piece.
Wait, we will start off with the things we did get done on the van this week. So we got new tires, some new shocks. There was a couple like heater hoses. You know, that stuff is, it's progress, but it's not anything really worth videotaping. So we didn't really have a whole lot to give you guys this week.
But so we came up with something else and something fun, and it just so happened to work out perfectly as the little cap to our first 2 months of the build since it's week 9. So instead we're going to talk about 5 things that we learned during our first 2 months of the van build. And I think they're all pretty good because, I mean, I came up with them.
She came up with some.
I was the screenwriter for this week, but they are a bit more on the, like, energetic and, like, mental productive side of things. So not like, oh, use a 2x4 instead of a blah, blah, blah. Yeah, and these are all, like, kind of applicable to, like, any big, like, goal or vision you have. None of these are, like, van build specific. So, like, you could use these, I think, in any, like, big goal or big plan that you have. So that's our preface. So
anyway, so without further ado, 5 things that we learned from our van to build. Number 1.
Tip number 1 is a little cliche. They're all slightly cliche, but it's about the journey, not the destination.
Yeah.
So this is obviously like a really big task and goal that we're undertaking, and we're obviously really excited and really jacked for it to be done. And that's kind of gotten in our way a few times where we start to beat ourselves up and get like exasperated and kind of overwhelmed because we feel like we're not further on in our build than we really wanted to be. But then also, realizing that, you know, it takes time to do something like this. So I think, the one thing that, well, I know me in particular, I kind of forget is to, like, enjoy doing this with you, you know? Not that it's not super fun. Well, because it is a lot of hard work, but, you know, this is all part of the journey, and it's all part of the process. You know, you learn stuff about yourself as you're doing the work, not just when you make it to the other side, you know? So just remembering to be, like, really present with what it is that we're doing and find joy.
Yeah, you gotta enjoy it. If you're not having fun, then you're doing it wrong.
Yeah, why are you even doing it?
Like, for real. For real, for real.
So, enjoy it while you're doing it. Number 2.
Number 2, so always think ahead of what you're doing is one of the big ones that we've learned, is that, you know, because sometimes we'll be doing something, we'll be so focused, like getting this whole roof done that we've never built before, that then we get it done, and then we're getting ready to move on to the next thing, and then all of a sudden, it's not right. It's not that it's not right, but it's just not right for the next thing that we're getting ready to attempt. Like, a couple of examples of that, like when we were putting all of the cross beams in on the top of the roof, we didn't really think about where we were going to put the fan. You know, we didn't think ahead enough. And so we realized that where we were going to put the fan was not wide enough in between those beams. So we actually had to take, and luckily we figured that out before we had put in the plywood and all that other stuff on. And so, you know, so you kind of have to have a rough idea of where you're going next in what you're doing, and not getting so caught up in the thing that you're currently in. Because, I mean, and that just happened today or yesterday when we were putting in the brackets for the solar panels. You know, it's just like, I don't know, we forgot we even needed to buy brackets. You know, we thought we were just gonna mount the solar panel straight on, so we measured that top from like the fan to the skylight to be a certain distance, and all it was just the width of the fans. And so, and
that was gonna fit those 3 solar panels. If it was just the solar panels, it was gonna fit like perfectly in between that fan and the skylight.
Yeah, and ends up that, you know, after you put on the brackets, that's 4 extra inches, and so now all of a sudden we're 4 inches short. So we are going to have to end up mounting one on the front of the van. Holla!
It was my idea.
Yeah. So that's gonna be something you guys are gonna be seeing next week, is us doing that, because we figured out where those actually need to go. But
so
anyway,
always keep the big picture in mind, and don't get so caught up in what's in front of your face that you forget to, you know, take the big picture into account.
Yeah, you got to.
You what? I was just thinking, because like you and I, because like sometimes we like, I don't know, we have to really work on our communication sometimes in instances like this, because this is just such a different form of like communication that you and I have never really had to do before.
Wait, what?
When we're like building stuff. Oh, okay. But you know what I mean? So.
I get you. Number
3, communication is key. Yes, communication has to be really strong and really clear. And I mean, it's not going to be perfect, but you just got to really communicate with your partner, with whoever you're working with for something this big. Especially something like this that we've never like done before. Like as far as heavy constructing, tearing apart a vehicle. He's definitely more like construction inclined than I am.
Torn apart vehicles before, for sure. Just never had to rebuild them.
Yeah, but at the end, I have no experience with anything like this. So just being able to like communicate really clearly, you know, with each other, almost sometimes to the point in my instance where I need like over clarification for certain things. Well, to be fair, because there will be like a lot of corners and a lot of edges in there, and he says, oh, well, grab it from the bottom corner there, and I'm like, there are 7 bottom corners, like, you gotta tell me which one it is because I don't know, you know. So just being like really open and communicative and being patient, I guess, too, with each other. Patience, that's a separate thing, but
yeah, because patience, I don't know, just realizing of having to work with tons of people in like, you know, the auto industry that I've worked in, and like, you know, just doing other construction products and just being around other people that I've worked with before, is like, yeah, you end up building up this communication, and it never usually starts off very well. And so it is that thing, you know, like as we're talking, I'll just be like, cool, the outer edge, and it's like, cool, every edge is the outer edge, but eventually you realize that it's like, you know, this is what I'm referring to as the outer edge. I mean, you end up building up communication. There's no right or wrong. It's just like whoever you're working with, you just gotta, you gotta get along with them, you know. And you have to realize that that person's not trying to piss you off. They're not purposely trying to make your day bad. And if they are, find somebody else to work with. But no, so yeah, you gotta keep it light. You gotta keep it fun. But you also gotta communicate for sure and keep that frustration at like that minimum. Realize that everybody has the same goal.
Number 4.
Work when you can. Little increments add up to be a really big thing. That's something sometimes I struggle with, is that I'll be like, oh, I have to have a whole day off or something like that. Actually, I've been doing really good at this. But, you know, like, but I'll get off and I'll have 2 hours or something like that. And I'm just be like, okay, cool, my whole day is gone. I have no time. All of a sudden, like, you have time. There's things you can do in preparation for, like, if you run out of daylight outside. Go into the garage where there's lights and, you know, figure out what you're actually doing in life. Make a whole lot of, like, planning. Because I know half the stuff that I think I don't have time to do, I'm like, oh, I have to wire. Oh, no, all the wiring's been done. Dude, I had to sit there for 4 hours and just come up with a wiring diagram to really understand what's going on. I mean, there's research that you need to do. There's all of these points that you need to do that still take up time, that are still productive in a way. So having 2 hours here, having 2 hours there, if that is all you can put in all that day, guess what? You're 2 hours more ahead of where you were than you were yesterday.
Yeah.
So you got to keep on plugging away.
Yeah, those like little consistent efforts really do make a difference, especially if you're taking under something like as massive as this, or, you know, insert whatever goal or dream, you know, you have here. But you just, because a lot of people, that's their thing. They're like, well, I never have enough time to do anything. It's like, well, you probably could find some time, even if it's just a little bit at first, you know. So like you said, if we have 2 hours of sunlight, then we're out there doing stuff for those 2 hours. And I think too, it goes to show, in the moment, yeah, we don't feel like we're getting as much done, but then we'll go back and, you know, watch some of our videos and we're like, oh yeah, we got all of that done last week, because we do something every day, even if it's just a little bit, even if it's behind the scenes, you know. So consistency is key.
Consistency is key. Alright.
Okay.
Last one of 5 things we learned in the last 2 months.
I don't know how is not an excuse. You can learn. Especially now that we have the internet, y'all. Like, you can learn how to do anything. Steven, how many van build videos did you watch while we were still in New Orleans before we even got here doing any of this?
Yeah, I think during quarantine, I literally spent 2 months straight just watching van build videos.
Yeah. So So there are resources out there. If you want to do something bad enough, you can figure out how to do it. There are ways that you can figure it out. Obviously, do your research, be safe, but you have the resources around you to be able to figure it out, even if if you really want to. Everything that we've done, we've either learned ourselves online through books or through outsourcing to other people around us that we know have some knowledge in it. So you can figure it out.
And that's a big one too. Yeah, is that you probably know somebody, or you know somebody that knows somebody, and so just don't ever be scared to use those resources. I mean, that's one of the big reasons why we came up here versus trying to do this down in New Orleans, is that I knew a slew of people that I knew would be able to help me out with the electrical. I knew would be able to help me out with the mechanical. I knew they'd be able to help me out with the carpentry. So that's one of those things. Pool your resources. Figure out where you can get what. And yeah, I mean, and a lot of it still is and most of them have never built a van either. So a lot of it's just they have somewhat of a background, they have somewhat of a knowledge, and so at least have somebody you can bounce ideas off of, because that's all part of learning there. And that's the other thing not to get caught up in with the whole you don't know how, is that you're not going to watch a video and just all of a sudden know how to do it. It's like you're going to watch a video, you're going to talk to a resource, and if you're really trying to do it yourself, it's going to come down to you are actually going to have to do it yourself. So realize, but also realize that that's how you learn how to do stuff. That's part of that creation process, is realizing that you didn't know how to do something and now you do, because you've done it. So just do it, and guess what? You're gonna screw up a lot. I think it's funny. I got a couple friends that have messaged me about our videos and stuff, and they're just like, "Oh, you guys look like you guys know what you're doing," or "It seems like you guys are doing so well." And I'm just like, "Yeah, you're missing all the audio on those time lapse where I'm just like cursing at the top of my lungs and freaking out and like having these moments where I'm like in complete panic because I literally think I'm screwing it up as I'm doing it." But I mean, just at that point, it proves that if you keep on going and you want to get to that end result, you're gonna learn the knowledge, you're gonna do the work, you're gonna make sure that like the thing takes off. So you just gotta keep on going with it.
Yeah, I think a lot of this too is just tying back to the core idea that if you really want to do something big for yourself, or you have a dream, I think a lot of that foundational blockage is like in yourself and in your mindset about it. Either if it's that you don't have time or you don't know what you're doing or yada yada, you can kind of start to work through that stuff. So I think you just gotta get up and go.
You gotta do it.
Yeah.
Ain't nobody gonna do it for you. Ain't nobody gonna come around and drop it in your lap and be like, "Hey, here's the van," and if they do, congratulations, that's awesome.
Good for you.
Let me know that it happens. But other than that, you just gotta keep on going with it.
Follow your dreams. And when you do, double reinforce it with screws and put 2 coats of Flex Seal on it.
Yeah, that's the best advice I got for any of this. Maybe even 3. We'll see.
Yeah. But
right.
So that's what we got for this week. Thank you guys. I know this is a little bit different. Maybe let us know in the comments if you like stuff like this or not. We like talking to each other and hanging out. So we like doing stuff like this, like talking and motivational stuff. So let us know if you're about it. Otherwise, like and subscribe, all the things. It makes us happy. It makes our dogs happy.
Well, it furthers the dream. It helps us out.
Yeah, absolutely. So, peace and love. This was me in my yoga classes the other day, and I was like, and then slowly, and then he'd be like, Pepper, and I'd be like,